Hello and welcome to another English podcast with Paul. Nice to see you. And where have you been? Where have you been? Right then. So today, let's jump straight into it. Unedited, unscripted, and under an hour. Just for you, all right? This is for you, for your listening practice. Or if you just like listening to my voice. So sit down, make yourself comfortable, or walk around. It's up to you. Put your headphones in and get ready to have an interesting conversation. Right, what are we talking about today? Okay, so we're going to jump straight into it. What we're talking about is theme parks. You remember theme parks? These things with roller coasters where you go up and down and make yourself sick, or other exciting and interesting rides. All right, it's a bit like a fairground, but they stay there permanently in one place. So, as always, I've got some notes. You maybe see me looking over at the computer on my notes. And I'm going to try and share them along with you. And then those notes are some of my thoughts and some of what I found on the internet. To make an interesting topic conversation, I've got some questions at the end just that we could ponder. All right? All right then. Okay. So we've started that one. Let me just switch it over to this one here. There we go. Right. Okay. Now, bear with me a moment. Theme parks. So for those that you are watching on YouTube, I do have a website. Here we go. Unedited, isn't it? It's unedited. So this is natural. Me stumbling over my words. A native speaker, a native English speaker and teacher sometimes stumble over my words. It's because it's not pre-recorded again and again. It's not edited, and I've not rehearsed it. I've not rehearsed this. It's just a ad hoc almost. Okay, ad hoc meaning like on the spot. Like, oh, right now. So, ad hoc conversation and topic today about theme parks. So theme parks, where you go for adrenaline. You go to a place and you go on a ride and you go up and down and have lots of fun and screaming and shouting. And sometimes you even have your photo taken whilst you're there having fun. Okay, theme parks. They've been around for a while. So where did they start? I mean, I didn't know. I had to look it up. It's very interesting. I thought that it was a lot older than what it really is. Now, apparently, it was only sort of like 1843. So what did it say? In Denmark, in Copenhagen. So it's German. Copenhagen? Where's Copenhagen? I don't think that's in Germany. Oh, my geography is terrible. So embarrassing. All right. So in Copenhagen, even says it there, in Denmark, 1843. And Black Gang Chine on the Isle of Wight. I mean, I live in the UK and I've been to the Isle of Wight, but I don't remember Black Gang Chine. What the heck is that? Oh, okay. So the Isle of Wight. 1843. Okay. Early parks and gardens featuring live entertainment and mechanical attractions. So often you'll see in a lot of English parks and big gardens, that are open to the public, you'll often see like a bandstand, which is like normally a circular raised platform, and often with a shelter with a few pillars to hold the roof. And it's normally sort of isolated in the middle. Oh, I've done it now. Oh, sorry. Oh, I was trying to be clever. I was trying to be clever and rest my mouse on my lap. And then it fell off. And now I feel silly. All right. So what was I saying? I was saying... bandstands, yes, bandstands. I think on special occasions and especially throughout summer, we often have a band, normally a brass band. Sometimes there's other bands as well. There's such a thing as marching bands and whatever, but often it's a brass band. Or sometimes it's just maybe somebody with a guitar and somebody singing that they've, I don't know, prepared and given notice to the public to advertise. So our bandstands don't get used very often, especially not in the countryside where I am. Maybe more so in Hyde Park in London and some of the other big parks. But a bandstand is a kind of a place people can gather and listen to music for free and just watch. So we in the UK have a long history of parks, recreational parks, just for I can't say the word now. Meandering, that's the word, meandering around. Meandering means to slowly wander as you feel fit. I apologize, I got a squeaky chair. Can you hear that? So to meander, like a river meanders, it slowly goes the path it wants. So we've got a long history of parks in the UK where you could meander, even cycle, play a little bit of football, have a picnic, good place for a picnic. And there's obviously lots of flowers and big grass areas, probably a fountain. And more often than not in the UK, there's locked gates. Also in Spain, I know they lock some of their parks up at night. Some really, really amazing parks in Spain, especially where I lived in Zaragoza. Amazing. You know, they would have fireworks there and all sorts. It was fantastic. Fantabulous. There you go. So I've mixed two words together there. Fantastic and fabulous to make fantabulous. All right. Now, it's not a real word. I just made it up. And that's what you can do in English sometimes. And that could be an inside joke between you and your friend or you and your partner. You know, you make up this word and you say it again and again. Fantabulous. Okay. I'm going off topic a little bit. Lots and lots of parks with things going on. So we don't really have any mechanical attractions these days. That's kind of a thing of the past. I'm guessing like kind of the monkey and the organ grinder where an old man would wind this organ and the monkey would dance on top and clap. And then this organ would make music. And he would try and collect money, I guess. All right. Also then Coney Island. If you don't know, I didn't know. Coney Island is very famous in America for its attractions and rides and stuff like that. So I think maybe some people that were in Germany and Copenhagen and places like that really enjoyed these fen fairs and realized what they were and decided to expand it across the world and make more like this roller coaster. And if you've ever been on a roller coaster, it can make you really queasy. You know, you're queasy. Your stomach can feel like it's doing backflips and somersaults. You can have that feeling in your stomach of butterflies. All right. So queasy and butterflies, often very similar sensation to maybe having doing your driving test, an exam, or going on a first date, or doing something that's very big and scary. All right. Queasy, butterflies in your stomach doing backflips, and those kind of terms because you're a little bit nauseous. So, a roller coaster. I find them very exciting. I like roller coasters. Although, because maybe I've rode a motorcycle for many, many, many years, the idea of speed doesn't really bother me or excite me that much. Yeah, they're fast, but when you've been riding a motorbike around, you know, big motorbikes, you get used to the adrenaline and the speed and the wind whooshing past your face. Whoosh. Again, what's that? Onomatopoeia. The sound of a word. The word of a sound. That's it. The word of a sound. Whoosh. Bang. Splat. All right. So yeah, and Ferris wheels. Now we don't call them Ferris wheels in the UK. What do we call them? We call them like the big wheel, something like that. A big wheel, and a fun house is normally like a pretend house full of mirrors and uneven floors and lots of funny things going on. All right. So that was the template for modern theme parks. Now Disney. I'm sure you've all heard of Disney, like Mickey Mouse and Pluto and Minnie Mouse and things like that. Disney had a really big impact on us Westerners with their theme park that opened in 1955. You know, Mickey Mouse. So he talks about storytelling and themed lands. So one of the big theme parks that I went to as a young lad, and as a young man, often I would take a girlfriend and me and another friend and his girlfriend would drive up to Alton Towers. Alton Towers. It's probably the biggest theme park in the UK. It's a really big place. And I mean, like, you'd need a car to drive from one side to the other side. In fact, where the car park is, you go on to one of these, I don't know what it's called, like a raised tram up in the sky, like a sky train, I think they call it. And it takes you all the way across the park, so you can go from one side to the other, and then onto your to the car park. It's that big a distance. Okay, so Alton Towers is an amazing place. There's, like it said there with Disney, lots of themed areas. And as we look up later, there's also different genres and different age groups and things like this. So it can be quite an interesting experience for the family and fun. There's a lot of more gentle rides like teacups. Teacups are a very well-known ride. There's like, I think it's taken from Alice in Wonderland, where they talked about a teacup. So anyway, it's like a seat, but with the sides come up, and it's got a handle on it. So it's got the shape of a cup and a saucer underneath. And you sit inside this, and it sort of goes round gently, around in circles itself, and then around in one big circle, like an orbit. All right, so that's really good fun with little children and very, very small children. Then there's like small roller coasters with shapes of a dragon on or something like that, or a friendly caterpillar. So there's things like that. And then there's these swings, like a big swing, like a pirate ship or something like that, you know. And then you'd have the same theme. Maybe it's a pirate ship theme throughout that area of the park. And then another area of the park, it could be like horror films, you know, so like Saw and Freddy Krueger, Night in Elm Street, and things like that could be very scary and lots of blood and scary faces. And then you might have other parts of the park that are very much more traditional, lots of plants and fountains and things like that. Plus, dotted throughout I don't say dotted. There are hundreds of them. Stalls where you can buy ice cream and candy floss and drinks and crisps and candy and all sorts of stuff. You can also buy like little disposable cameras. So if you're having a great time, you don't, oh, my phone's flat, or you left your phone behind, you can buy a camera. Expensive, I tell you, everything at the theme park is expensive. You can buy a camera and take photos of your family being soaking wet from the log flume and things like this. All right, a log flume is where you go at the top of the stairs, and then you and your friends get into what is like shaped like a log really, and it's basically some seats in a row, like I say, in the shape of a log, and it goes up this like stairway. This ride is being pulled up by chains. Then it gets to the top, and then gravity allows this thing to go down a really, really steep slope, and then splashes into some water, and then it goes around a couple of corners, and then it starts all over again. So the log flume, everybody gets wet out of the log flume. Everybody talks about the log flume. Often, especially at Alton Towers, there's a built-in camera that the owners of the theme park own, and it takes your photos really fast, bit like a speed camera. So you go as you're going past it, and do some funny faces and signs, and then you get lots of photographs. That was me making the sound of the camera. So you can have photographs of you and your family all coming down. I think there's a photo down there actually. There's one down here. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. Oh. So, if you can see on the camera at home. There we go. So that's a camera picture of, who's that? My brother and his wife and his daughter somewhere at the back there, and probably my mother's ex-boyfriend. Well, no, I shouldn't say ex-boyfriend, because he's still her boyfriend, but she's no longer here. I don't know what you would say that is. Okay, yes. So, photos. Having a great time at the theme park. Enjoying yourself. That's what it's all about. It's all about. All right, so yeah, Disney and all these different themes and different areas to the theme park. For everybody, really. For everybody. And you'll also find often there's lots of people with special needs, and there's accessibility. There's a lot of help for everybody to be included. you know, such as like for wheelchair access, or for if you're blind, and or if you've got special needs, and maybe often you can go to the front of the queue so you don't have to wait. Because that's one of the downsides about Alton Towers and these big theme parks is the queue. You have to queue up and wait in line for sometimes like over an hour. I've waited in line for nearly 2 hours before to get on a really, really popular ride at Alton Towers. And you think, why did I wait so long? Sometimes it's really exciting and worth the wait. But these places are really, really busy, really popular. Now, there's one in the southwest especially that I've been to many times with my children when they were growing up, called Creeley Park. Now, feel free to Google it and have a look. But it's more for families, so there's a lot more smaller rides. And then there's little areas of like where they have, it's not a zoo, but they have some animals that you can go and say hello to. And then they have like a big indoor arena where maybe there would be some owls or other birds of prey. And there's a lot of activities going on indoors for families with children, especially where you can pet the animals and things like that. So Creeley is an amazing place. A little bit expensive and very busy in the summer, but that's really, really good for families. Okay, so talking about inclusion there, all inclusion, lots of different people. All right, why do we like theme parks so much? That's a good question. All right, okay, so escape and entertainment. Now that's a whole world of questions, as I said before, opening up the can of worms, and all these issues come out because lots and lots of people are not happy with their lives, and so they try to mask it, try to self-medicate in a way by instead of actually fixing the problem, or they think they can't fix the problem of their lives not being very good, they try to cover it and mask it with all these other short-term dopamine and oxytocin excitements to get through their day, get through the week. Hence why I talk about a lot of people have alcohol or drug abuse. But there's another aspect that we'll get onto in a moment. So escapism. Now, reading a book, a science fiction book or drama book, is a very healthy escapism because you are actively using your imagination. But when you're having to be constantly stimulated, you directly, that is very, very different, and that is another situation and conversation. All right, so we really enjoy theme parks because of the escapism, providing a magical and immersive environment. All right, yeah, in a book you could be, or if you're in a video game or something like that, I'd imagine it's quite immersive, and films and things like that. But when you're walking around the park, often in the summer it's really, really hot, it may not be so immersive. If you see lots of Disney characters or other themed characters, then maybe you may feel immersive, but you still got to walk around and keep paying out money and looking after your kids or something. Okay, I think you can hear my dog in the background. All right, okay. And thrill seeking for the family. We'll get onto more of that in a moment. Thrill seeking and excitement and having fun. All right, social and family development. So anytime you're with your family and you really want to have good quality time together, often you think about where we can go to have fun and be happy and enjoy those occasions of immense fun. And so going to a theme park often bring people together more. You know, maybe you're scared. You go, down the roller coaster. And so you grab the other person. Or maybe you're in one of the horror parts or, you know, the scary parts. Ooh. And so again, you get close to other people. And it's a well-known fact that when you go highs and lows of emotions and excitement, then you do tend to create stronger bonds. So also for people that work in incidences, so like maybe like prison officers or security guards or police officers or ambulance crew. If you face stress and trauma or some major thing with somebody else, you're much more likely to connect and build some strong bonds and relationships. Interesting facts. Okay, so the family come together more when you've got those exciting memories, and it's a way to have good memories and capture those memories in a photo. Just yeah, having those memories with your children is a positive thing for everybody. Okay, that's another reason why we go to theme parks. Shared experiences. Okay, now adrenaline and thrills. So yeah, going really fast down the roller coaster, then quickly back up again is quite exciting. It's quite exciting. And then you see other people getting off, at the end, and oh, wow, that was really fast. Oh my goodness, my heart was in my mouth. Oh, you can feel my heart still beating now. Having your heart beating in your mouth is intense excitement. And they get millions and millions of people go there. As I said, it's really, really busy. So that thrill, that adrenaline is really quite rare in our normal sedentary lifestyles. You get up, you go to work, maybe you go to a party where something crazy and fun happens. But often, some of those things you can't talk about at work. Some of those things might be a little bit risque. But going to a theme park and having natural family fun of excitement and adrenaline is something everybody can share. It's something that makes you feel alive and awake. But yeah, we'll get back onto adrenaline in a moment. All right. Impact. Again, so they bring a lot of money to the local environment. I would say generally, not always, because a lot of the theme parks can deal with many issues in-house. So if you wanted food, accommodation, I don't know, other things that you might want to buy, a lot of it is in-house. So a lot of time you go to the theme park and you can buy your camera, you can buy your drinks, you can buy a cushion, you can buy maybe a jacket if it's raining, you can buy all sorts of stuff. Your evening meal, even stay the night and go back again the next day. Like I said, accommodation. Alton Towers has hotels on site. So you don't need to leave the facility. So yes, it does give employment, I guess. And if people stay longer, they might leave the theme park and actually venture forth and get to know the area a bit better. The local area, local amenities and different cafes outside of the theme park. And that's something I've done when I've gone to Barry Island. Barry Island is synonymous for many, many years in South Wales. Has been a bit of a fairground and a theme park. It's quite an exciting place to be if you're young and on a bit of a budget. It's not so expensive. So Barry Island has a town, it has the seaside, and lots of other things going for it. And Barry Island is also in a TV show, a very famous TV show that I've suggested you watch before, called Gavin and Stacey. Gavin and Stacey. They often have scenes of being down at the beach of Barry Island. It's a really, really cool place. I think it's a cool place. It's good. All right, okay. Economic impact. So yeah, probably some not. Okay. Technology advancements, yeah, like some of those roller coasters or the technology in with regards to all the sensors and the cameras flashing and the counting of people and the weights and the engineering involved with building a modern day roller coaster is amazing. It really does push the envelope, as we might say. So pushing the envelope is pushing what's been known before, what we think is the barriers, really stretching and improving our knowledge on something. Pushing the envelope. And like we said earlier, global expansion. Yeah, there are lots of theme parks. Like, for example, Merlin in the UK. I think they're part of the, what do they call it now? The London Eye. I don't know if they call it that now. They might call it the Millennium Wheel or the London Eye or the Coca-Cola Eye or whatever it is. So this big Ferris wheel, huge, great Ferris wheel. They own that. I think they also own Madame Tussauds, which is a waxwork museum. So, you know, famous celebrities remodeled in wax to look amazing. And I think they also own Alton Towers and probably Thorpe Park. So Thorpe Park is a bit more south, closer to where I live, and is easier to get to. And I think it's a little bit smaller and probably a little bit cheaper than Alton Towers. Alton Towers is a long drive for me, like 4.5 hours, 5 hours. Whereas I think the other one's only, Thorpe Park is only like 2 hours, something like that. So, but what we do when I've been to Alton Towers before is you go up and then you stay the night. Maybe you go up the night before so you can start early. Anyway, Thorpe Park. Yeah, so they are globalizing, like I said, with Thorpe Park, Alton Towers, London Eye, Madame Tussauds, and a few other things. But if you do come to the UK, especially London, there are lots and lots of museums and attractions that are free. So don't miss out. Don't miss out. Don't get sucked into the hype and the money. It's worth doing all the free things first. You may be surprised. Okay, global expansion, advanced technologies and stuff. Yeah, there could be a lot more I could say about advanced technologies, but I haven't got the time to research it. It's a big. If you're interested, do research it. It's a very, very big topic. It's very interesting. Okay, so now this is the thing that I wanted to get onto at the end, really. This Peter Pan syndrome. So when I said earlier about opening up a can of worms and the issues you have with going to the theme parks, brings out the Peter Pan syndrome. So what is it? It's not a real psychological phenomenon. That's a hard word to say. Phenomenon. I normally could say it normal, really properly, not a problem. I think maybe because I'm on camera, it makes it harder for me to say. Phenomenon. Here we go. Phenomenon. 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 That's it. Phenomenon. You say the N. Phenomenon. Phenomenon. A bit like millennium. Millennium is very difficult to say for many people. Phenomenon. Oh, the more I say it, the harder it gets. Okay, right. So what are we talking about? Some adults resist or avoid the traditional markers of adulthood and responsibilities. Okay, so like I said, I've got some notes here. Quickly run through them. Avoidance of responsibilities. Now I don't know about if it's the same for you, but I have seen lots of grown men playing video games when the children or the wives or the girlfriends are like, hey, do you want to come spend some time with me? I got my sexy underwear on. And the guy goes like, no, I've almost finished. And he's really, really focused and engaged and stuck on playing this video game when there's an actual woman that wants to spend time with him. Maybe even special time. Nod, wink, wink. And he's just focused. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy is really sucked into the fantasy of the game and getting escapism instead of dealing with real world activities. I think that's a dangerous path to go down. I really do. So responsibilities, financial independence. So often you get in the UK, for example, men and women generally age differently. Women grow up emotionally and intelligently a lot sooner. So often, this is why you'll see men of a certain age dating or marrying women a lot younger than themselves. That's often because the men mature emotionally and intelligently a lot later. So I'm a bit different. I don't know whether I've matured sooner or what. Maybe that's not for me to say. But I have dated when I was younger. When I was very, very young and insecure and lacking confidence, I dated a woman that was 5 years younger than me. And I don't know, I still think she looked up to me to be responsible and be the man and provide and things like this. But I was still a young man, just still having fun and barbecues and I don't know if I think I give up drinking by that point. And looking for excitement and going to Alton Towers and motorcycles and all that sort of stuff. I wasn't thinking about being a man and taking charge of this house and this household and moving forward when she was thinking about having children. Needless to say, that relationship fell apart a few years later. But since then, I've generally dated women of my own age or older. Mostly my own age, one or two older. And that's normally because I'm really focused and I'm not like usual men. I don't watch football. I don't watch the rugby. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I'm a bit different to your average guy. I like to read books. I like to know about self-help. I like to know about business. I like to know a little bit now. I like to know about fitness. So I've been really focused on learning on me and my people skills and growing as a person myself for many, many years, when many of my counterparts and peers have been enjoying life and having fun, drinking and partying and having lots of girlfriends and things like that. That wasn't me. So I'm very different in that respect. But when somebody is spending a long time, when somebody's getting older and all their peers are starting to settle down and get married and have children and build up their career and focus on the family, a lot of people around that time, if you've still got a friend that's not doing that, not getting engaged and settling down and still going out partying, you've got to ask yourself, is this person suffering from Peter Pan syndrome? Are they? Good question. Right, okay. So basically, they don't want to commit to stuff. They don't want to start paying bills and getting stuck down with stuff. Maybe they swap jobs all the time because it's boring and they can't see the bigger picture. All right. The constant desire for fun and entertainment and stimulating their brain with other things, music and gigs and parties and festivals, just being out and doing stuff all the time and spending money. Seems to be a lot of spending money. All right. And then maybe there is the fear of commitment. Maybe they're a little bit scared that they've seen a lot of people break up. Maybe they've seen their parents break up and they're concerned that that's going to happen to them, which is a genuine concern. I mean, we've all been there. That's a genuine concern. The fear of breakups and rejection and being lonely. So, yeah, I can understand that. Reluctance to settle down. Okay, so yeah, I mentioned about not wanting to settle down, constantly looking for spontaneous excitement. And then we got dependency on others. Yeah, so some people live with their parents for a long, long time, not because it makes financial sense and they're maybe growing their business or they're growing their art and their talent and they're building something. Maybe they're there because they don't want to move out, because they like and love the security of mum doing the laundry, mum doing the cooking, dad being there for security and protection. Maybe they don't want to leave that nest for some of those reasons. Now, I know in the West is very different to in the East in regards to flying the nest at an early age. So we tend to leave anywhere between 16 and 21, 22. Often, not always, but often it's the case that people go to university, they learn how to use the washing machine, they learn how to cook for themselves, or they remember what their parents taught them. They learn a bit about finances and how to budget. Some of these things between the age of 16 and 21 generally happens organically, naturally, within a safe environment, whether you're at uni, whether you're at home and at uni or college or somewhere in between. That's generally the time you learn. And then by the time you get to 21, you're generally sick to your back teeth of your family and you want to move out. Oh my God, my mum and my dad are really irritating me. They're doing this, they're doing that. I can't have parties. I can't invite friends over. So normally by that age is a natural age in the West for young people to move out and get an apartment and get a job and then think, oh goodness, I gotta keep working to pay for this job because I'm gonna go on holiday and because I'm gonna go to this festival and because I'm gonna go and buy this car. And so after 21 or after you move out, that's when you start having a lot of fun where you're responsible for yourself, and that's a spectrum. And then so from like 21 through to 25, you have a lot of great fun and excitement and parties. And maybe you have a few negative effects. Maybe you have a car accident. Maybe you have a break into your apartment. You have a few life lessons happening. And then you start to get to 25 maybe and start thinking, maybe I need to calm things down a bit. Maybe you're waking up in the morning with a hangover and thinking, oh, I'm getting too old for this. But you get to that age and you start calming down, you start looking at your life and where you want to go for the future, and you start really making some plans and some changes in your life. Now, this is the point, like I said, most people grow up and start making changes. Now, if you're suffering from that Peter Pan syndrome, it may be the case that you're not slowing down and that you're still going like a train 100 miles an hour, still partying really hard, still trying to do everything and have fun and have excitement. And when you get in late 20s into your 30s, people are really looking at you thinking, oh, wow, they are a train wreck. That person is a train wreck. Something bad is going to happen. Okay, so the train wreck, and there's even a film actually called The Train Wreck, is where somebody really doesn't start to slow down and mature and become responsible and taking responsibility and reflecting upon themselves. And then normally something happens, either a burnout or a major incident, or sometimes they just slow down a bit, but they still don't grow up. They still don't have that responsibility. Often it's the case that we have children, and that makes you grow up. That makes you become organized. It makes you become aware that people are relying on you. You are responsible. So having children is a really big wake-up call. Really makes you wake up like a bucket of cold water. It's like, oh my Lord, I've got this. You know? And that is a very terrifying thing and very exciting at the same time. So it gives lots of mixed emotions, especially when somebody reads the pen, you know, the pen that you pee on, you know, and that stick, and they go, oh, my life's going to change. No more alcohol for me. So that is a pinnacle moment, having children and growing up. Well, like I said, anywhere between 25 up to 30. That's kind of the normal. That's not everybody, but that's kind of the normal, the way things go. So this Peter Pan is normally a real resistance to that and a real issue for that, and people holding off of that. Now, there's a number of factors to bear in mind. You know, like I said, the dependency on other people, mum and dad looking after you, or your brother or your sister or something. And then resilience to aging. Some people might think, oh my God, I like being young. I was 18. I still want to be 18. Although I'm 28, I want to pretend I'm 18. I can still do all that. Some people are in denial of their own aging, their own mortality. What else we got? Fear of failure. That's a very big one as well. If you move out from your parents, you know, it's very frowned upon, I guess, in Western society. If you have to move back in again, if for example you leave your job and you get kicked out of your apartment or wherever you're staying and it all falls apart, you either sleep on the streets or you sofa surf at a friend's house, or you go back to your parents' house. And that feels like a failure. It feels like your relatives, your aunties, your uncles, your neighbors, your friends are all going to go, oh dear, oh that's a shame. Oh no, you poor thing. Oh, maybe one day you'll get a good girlfriend or a good boyfriend. Maybe one day you'll get a good job. And can be very patronizing and condescending and can make you feel very small. So people have a big fear of failing. Hence why maybe they don't want to move out. Maybe they don't want to get a real full-time job. So that fear of failing is a real big issue. Other psychological underlying factors, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, maybe even a childhood trauma. Maybe your parents split up when you were young. Maybe there was a car accident. Maybe there was something else that happened in your childhood that really holds you back from growing and learning and becoming responsible. That's a real honest and big issue. That's a real concern. So, also it can stunt your relationships. You may find, or you may know somebody, a friend maybe, that has problems with their relationships and moving forward. Maybe they can't get past a couple of months, the honeymoon period, the exciting and fun phases. Maybe they can't get past that. Maybe they're stuck because of a childhood trauma. Maybe they're stuck at this Peter Pan syndrome stage where they don't want responsibilities because they know what's happened in the past. Some deep issues. And again, like stunted personal growth and things like that. So for those situations, people are often recommended therapy. And therapy is a real big issue that, again, it has a little bit of stigma, a taboo. All right. So a stigma or taboo is where something is not talked about. Or if it is talked about, it's frowned upon. Oh no, his father committed suicide. Oh, the poor thing. Oh, shh. Don't say anything about suicide. Shh. No. Hung himself. No. Shh. You can't do any jokes like that. That's awful. And mental health awareness, things like that. So therapy has a real taboo and stigma in the West. It's slowly becoming less, but it's still there. If you say, for example, if you went for a job interview and they said, are you on any medication? And you might say, yeah, I'm on antidepressants. They might go, oh, sorry, no, we can't employ you. Or they might not say that. They just won't employ you. Antidepressants, no. That's very fearful and you might not get the job. So being open and honest about your mental health or about your worries and things like this can have an impact. Hence that taboo and that stigma. But therapy is probably one of the only real ways to get through it. Unless you're very, very good at self-counseling and self-reflecting, which in of itself is part of maturity and growing up. So therapy is probably one of the best ways to get through it. Setting goals, self-reflection. Often in therapy, it's about the relationship you have with the therapist and the way the therapist reflects back to you what you've been doing and saying in the room with the therapist. Now that's a real conundrum, and any other word you want to throw in there. Conundrum, quandary, perplexing, all these kind of unknowing words of unknowingness. The psychologist reflects what you're reflecting to him or her. It's a little bit confusing, I know. A really good book actually is Toad from Toad Hall, Wind in the Willows. Counselling for Toads, that's it. So there's an old story about Wind in the Willows, about these animals like a toad, a heron, a badger. So these countryside animals. And it's been a TV show, it's been a film, it's been all sorts. So most people in the UK know about it. But there's a book called Counselling for Toads. And it uses that premise of the story of like the badger and the ferret or whatever it was. And it is really, really insightful and very, very interesting. Counselling for Toads. It's one of the first books I read for counselling and self-reflection. It's really, really good. I recommend you read it. I can't remember off the top of my head who wrote it now. I want to say Cornelius or something like that. Okay, self-reflection and therapy. All right, okay. So it's important to know that Peter Pan is not an officially recognised psychological disorder rather than a cultural concept. So I got a couple of questions. Does this happen in your country? And does it happen in your culture? what is suggested? Do they get a smack upside the ear by the grandmother? Does the father give him a shake? Wake up! You're an adult! Wake up! Do they do that? Because trust me, I've wanted to do that to people many times. So does that happen in your country? What else happens? Can immaturity and avoidance of self-responsibility be not connected to a childhood trauma? That's an interesting concept, an interesting idea. Somebody that has this Peter Pan syndrome where they don't want to grow up, but is not connected to anything in their childhood. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? If we developed further, if we dug deeper into that person. And we all know somebody like this. We all do, like a friend, a cousin, somebody at work. We all know somebody like this that's constantly acting like an old teenager, somebody that's 18, 19 and having a great time. All right. Often it's said as well that many people that go through a breakup, get to a midlife crisis, and they try to reenact their younger teenage years or their adolescent years of being 18, 19, 20, and maybe they go out drinking and partying, even though they could be in their late 40s and 50s. Sometimes people regress. That's the technical term of going backwards mentally and emotionally by going back to when you were young and excited and when things were happy and positive. You regress back to those times. Hence, you have a midlife crisis. You might buy a motorbike or a sports car or go out with lots of young women on Tinder and start dating for one-night stands and things like that and not getting your life back on track. Maybe they start taking drugs, but that's another rabbit hole we could go down. So rabbit hole is the term, like opening a can of worms. Another area of thought that we could go down and start into that's very complicated and long. So yes, that's another rabbit hole we could go down. Right, so what's the difference between immaturity and emotional ignorance? So I know some people that are in their 50s and 60s, and they're fairly mature, but they're still quite ignorant to the world. And you're like, oh my goodness, really? Why? They could be like racist or have an issue about genders, or they could have an issue about maybe just a chip on their shoulder. A chip on their shoulder. A chip on the shoulder means a grievance, a disrespect and a dislike for a particular fraction or government or hostility towards something. Maybe it's towards women, maybe it's towards gay people, maybe it's towards black people, maybe it's towards, I don't know, people from Mars, maybe it's flat earthers. Anyway, some people have a chip on their shoulder. And I know people in their 50s and 60s that have the blinkers on, all right? Have the blinkers on. Now that's a term meaning what we do with horses. We put these covers over the sides of a horse's face. I don't think it's very ethical and it's not my choice, but I've seen the police do it anyway. They have these blinkers on to stop the horse seeing their peripheral vision, everything that's going on to the far sides, this way or this way. And so if somebody has the blinkers on, all they're doing is focusing and concentrating on what's in front of them, and they don't want to know. They really don't want to know anything else that's happening. Like, no, I can't see it. No, this is my opinion. This is my belief. I only look at this. This is all I believe. Now, these people I know at that age range is perplexing and confusing why, at such a mature age, they refuse to be responsible to understand and take on new ideas and concepts. So, for example, like technology. Now, if you're in your 80s and 90s, that's fair enough. You've done your time, you've served your time in your 80s and 90s. That's fair enough. But if you're in your 40s and 50s and you're refusing to get on board with technology, then what's the underlying issue there? Do you have some Peter Pan issue where you don't want to get involved with technology and you've got these blinkers on? No, I don't like technology. Technology's bad. I don't even have an email address. Blah, blah, blah. That might be a concern. That might be a red flag. So again, if you don't know, a red flag is a flag somebody might hold up at a race to say warning, warning, danger. All right? Danger, Will Robinson, danger. That's a quote from a TV show in the 80s. Lost in Space. All right, so red flag. A red flag is if somebody in their 40s and 50s and 60s that do not want to get involved with technology or do not want to look at new evidence or new ideas or new perspectives. Okay. So yes, emotional ignorance or emotional intelligence and immaturity. Very, very different things. But do have a lot of overlap. So interesting conversations. Now, if you like really deep, interesting conversations, this fella here that you can see on the screen now, if you're not watching, is Jordan Peterson. He's very articulate. I like to listen to him sometimes. Very, very articulate and poignant with what he says. Very interesting fellow to listen to. I don't go along with everything he says. Some of his things on religion don't resonate with me. But interesting fellow. Jordan Peterson. He talks a lot about intelligence and emotional intelligence and growing and self-reflecting. Things like that. So if you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button and subscribe. If you didn't enjoy the like button, if you didn't enjoy the video, then please just do give me a comment down below and tell me why you didn't enjoy it. I'd really be grateful to find out some feedback, what you liked, what you didn't like, and like I said, let me know in the comments what you do in your country when it comes to somebody with, you know, the Peter Pan syndrome. Let me know what you do in your country. So yeah, thanks very much. That's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.